Well, hey, and welcome to another, I guess we're going to call it a series now, episode of Early Morning Math with Miss Audrey. How's it going? Um, for those that are not sure what they want to do, they're talking about the heat. Okay, it's hot. It's the summer. It's supposed to be hot. But guess what? You still have to get your degree. You still have to learn that math. You still have to pass that test. You still have to study. So there's no excuses. What we do here is we break down math concepts that you see on the SAT, ACT, GED, ASVAB, Accuplacer, TEAS test, HESI test, a little bit of the GRE, especially the general one. All those concepts of those tests we tried to mention here and just break it down step by step. It's really supposed to be for people that have always struggled with math and now they got to take a test to prove their worth. But you're worthy. You're not the test. So what I do is I take things step by step. So you'll be able to understand it, be able to practice it, and be able to apply it. The reason right now that I believe a lot of people are not passing the test, you're taking old information that you've supposedly learned years ago and you're applying it to your current math situation. You're looking at stuff that you haven't seen in a long time. Think about if you had a 3-day weekend, Exhibit A this weekend, and then all of a sudden someone comes back and gives you a test on stuff that you were given like 3 months ago. You're not going to do well on that test because you didn't know about the information. You didn't know about the test. So now you're trying to practice based off of old information. So just like a lawnmower, you got to give it some fresh gasoline. Okay, just like a fresh seedling, you have to get it started before you can plant it. Make it get out of its shell so when you plant it with nutrients, it's going to grow. All right, enough analogies. Let's get started. So, if anything, let me see if I can boom. So, one of the concepts that a lot of people are having trouble is translating an expression so we can put it as an equation. So when you see this, how are you feeling? Okay? When you see this, how are you feeling? Put it into the chat. This is a very interactive type of group because the only way that you can solidify the information is if you connect with it. All right? Yep, just in time, John. Just in time. Okay, so you do see some numbers. Bunches of blessings. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. You must have had some day off. Yep, because the holiday, I think a lot of people are off today. All right, so thank you so much for joining. So what do you see? How do you feel? Okay, how do you feel? So when you see this, are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling anxious? Nauseous? Like I feel like I'm about to break down and cry because this is what happens. You feel like you're back in school, and what does that feel like, Jackson? Like hell no, or that was a fond memory. You know, which one is it? So when you see this, do you ever feel like I just don't know where to start? That's not good. Exactly. Good. Say it in the beginning. All right, Bailey, I see you as well. Good morning. So we have a situation here. So we have a candle burns down at a steady rate of 0.5 of an inch per hour. After burning for 4 hours, the candle is 6 inches tall. So, is there a question? Yes. We are going to translate this. How do we translate this into an equation? So, AKA, what's the equation? Okay, what's the equation? Now, anytime we're talking about an equation, we should always be thinking about y equals mx plus b. What do you think our equation is? So something that we can use to represent this situation. Okay, what was the original length? I don't know. But we can still figure out an equation. Because that's one thing they didn't give us. All they gave us is the rate. They gave us how long it was burning and how tall the candle is after that certain amount of time. Okay? Okay, bundles, I see you. DA. And the world problem? Yes, this is a statement. Yes, it is. So we're going to translate this statement into an equation. Good job. Alright. Alright. You got your my faith inches per hour. Okay. Hello, Doug. How are you? Okay. We got Marvin boxing some things. Okay. So I'm seeing Jimenez. Alright. Was first lit. Okay, DA. Okay, Dark Knight. Very close, Dark Knight. Alright. Alright, so Sharon, I see you. Andy P, I see you. Okay, do I do Python tutoring? No, I do not. Yeah, sorry, Young. Okay. Alright, Marvin, I see you. Okay. Alright, so a lot of people are trying to tell me what the original height. It's not asking for original height. I'm asking for an equation to represent this. Okay. Alright, you're listening but you're driving. Okay. But you're texting now. Sharon. I appreciate you though. Alright. There is one major key thing. Alright. So Dark Knight, there's something missing. There's something missing with your equation. And a lot of people have the same, like you're right there, but there's another part that's missing. So a lot of people are kind of on the cusp. So let's take a look. So we have a candle and they're telling me a steady rate. Anytime they're talking about a steady rate, that's going to be your slope. Because what is slope? Slope is also known as the rate of change. So they gave us what is our rate. Okay, so it's basically a half an inch per hour. That's the other clue. Anytime they use this word per, that whatever was associated with before, that's your slope. Okay, so we know that we have our slope is going to be 5/10. What's missing? What's missing though? This is the part that a lot of people were missing. What's missing with this slope? Okay. Alright, good. What's missing? Well, we're not into the equation yet, so it's not going to be the x, but good thinking. Because some people were missing that on their equations. Okay. Not going to be dividing. Okay. What's missing? So this is the key part. Read that, not yet with the whole, but we're trying to break this statement and put it as an equation. So that's what we're doing. User 12. Yes, my 3 dots. Okay, we're missing the negative. Why should this slope be negative? What is the key verbiage in this expression that's going to tell us that our slope should be negative? Hey, Nikki. Down. Yes, it's burning down. So it burns down. If you think of a candle, all right, here we go. Crazy candle and a holder. Little flame. I know, Picasso, right? So when you're lighting a candle, it's taking its elements. It could be soy, it could be wax, whatever. But when you're burning a candle, it's going to not grow. It's going to decline. It's going to decay. It's going to shrink. Okay? So because it's burning down, we have to have that negative being represented for our slope. So that means when we're looking at our graph should be doing something like this. As the x's are increasing, your y's, which is the height of the candle, should be decreasing. Okay, is that part clear? Alright, so now, but here we go. After burning 4 hours, the candle is 6 inches tall. So they're giving me something else. They're giving me my x and my y. Don't want to work today. Dealing with some quitters today. Okay? So we're dealing with the x and the y. So hours. Anytime you see hours is your independent variable. Meanwhile, it's like solo. Independent. INDEPEND. Yes. You got your own house. You got your own car. 2 jobs, work hard. She's a bad broad. Okay. It's my theme song back in the day. Now, anytime you see hours is going to represent your x. Okay? So your inches are going to depend on how long that candle is burning. That's why the 6 inches is going to be your y. So when we plug this stuff in, we can use this information to find what's missing, which a lot of you guys are saying. What's missing is your y-intercept. So now we have our y, which is 6. We have our slope, which is a negative 0.5 or 5/10. We have our x, which is our hours in the situation, which is 4. And we need to solve for b. Now, there are other ways of doing this, yes, but the one that I'm dealing with are with people that haven't seen math in a while, trying to avoid math as much as possible, but now they're faced with they have to pass maybe the GED. A lot of you guys have done all the other exams, but you let math last. Okay, now you're trying to get that approach. Some of you guys are trying to go into the military, and for some reason you just can't crack that 31 basic score. These are the people that I'm talking to. Okay? Now, how is everybody getting the 8s? So right here, we're going to multiply. Always do multiplication before addition and subtraction. So we have a negative. A negative times a positive, that gives me a negative. When the signs are opposite when you're doing multiplication, it's always negative. Now, 0.5 of 4. Also think of 1/2. Remember, 0.5 is the same as 1/2. What's half of 4? Half of 4 is 2. So now we're bringing down the plus b. We're bringing down the equals and the 6. So if we want to solve for b, that means we have to do the inverse or get rid of this -2. It's negative. This plus sign is attached to the b, not to the 2. The sign of the 2 is always to the left. So when you have a -2, you have to do its inverse, which is adding 2. Reason why? In order for this to cancel out over here on the right hand side, one has to be positive and one has to be negative, which normally would give me a 0, but we don't need the 0 because we still have this b to bring down, right? So 6 plus 2, that gives me 8. That's where everybody was coming up with 8s. So now, all we have to do is just put it together. You have your slope, you have your y-intercept, so your equation of the line is going to be y equals my negative 5/10 or 0.5 x with my positive 8. Alright. Okay. So, breaking it down, setting it up. The reason why I have us do it this way to set up is because they can give you a situation like this. They can give you whatever question. They can probably have you ask a question like, what is the original height of the candle? So you're going to use information possibly working backwards, but a lot of people don't know. They like to have structure. So we need to figure out what is my equation that's going to represent the situation. And if you ever want to know the start of something, the original, okay, the initial, it's always your y-intercept. Same thing if you were to graph. Anytime you want to know where do I start for the graphing, you always start at the y-intercept, the number that does not have an x or y adjacent to it, next to it. Okay? Alright? So, this is why we have this. Okay? Alright, thank you, Sierra. Appreciate you. Okay, you haven't used this in my life once? Huh. So how do you budget? How'd you get up this morning? You're using it, it's just not as blunt as this. Someone used it and put it themselves. Alright, so if you want to do more problems like that, I have a link in my bio that'll help you find the proper resource for you. And I did redo, or update it, I should say, my freebie. So if you want to get an idea where you are math-wise, go ahead, click the link in my profile. Alright. So, as I mentioned earlier, maturing. This is what we're doing. Playing in school? Ooh, why not? You should have. Okay. Well, good morning. Yes, of course. I know math is universal. Yep. So, here we go. Because no matter where you go, 2 plus 2, 2 times 2, 2 squared, still give you the same answer of 4. So we have to understand there's multiple ways of getting the same answer. I know it's stuck in your head. You probably had a math teacher who says, I want you to do it this way. There's so many different ways. So if I try to do all different ways, I'll be here forever. And that's not the object. So when we're trying to get the equation of this blue line, when you're taking any kind of standardized test, they're going to give you, most of the time, it's going to be multiple choice. When you look, first off, what kind of slope do I have here? Is it positive, negative, undefined, or zero slope? Okay. Alright, bundles of blessings. Nikki, good. Alright. Thank you, El. Appreciate you. Alright. Stepdaddy, how are you? I swear, I call so many men daddy on this app. It's just too much. Way too much. Alright. So, as my graph, as we read it, from left to right. So, as I graph, my graph is increasing. So that means as my x's are increasing, my y's are also increasing because from left to right, it's going up. So I'm going to have a positive slope. So when you see a standardized test and they're giving you multiple choice, you know where the slope is, because if we're looking at y equals mx plus b, your m, the number or the coefficient that's next to your x, that's what you're looking for. So you could do what's called process of elimination, POE. So as you're looking and you see a positive slope, if you see a negative number in this spot, that's not your answer. Cross it out. Eliminate it. So now instead of looking at 4 choices, you might be looking at 2 choices, or even better, 1 option. And then that will be your answer. Boom, done, click it, move on. Okay? So knowing what to look for kind of helps as well. Same thing with our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is basically where this blue line crosses our y-axis. And I notice right here, kind of give a little helpful hint, that our y-intercept is, the coordinates is 0, 3. It's crossing the y-axis at 3. So if you notice, your answer choice, you got a positive 3. Okay, because it's above 0. It's a positive 3. If you notice that your y-intercepts, you got 2 of them with a positive 3, beautiful. Those are the 2 that you're going to focus on. Then you look at the slope. If one slope's negative and the other slope's positive, take the slope that is positive. Boom, you answered that question in less than 8 seconds. Remember, you have that whole thing called timing that keeps haunting a lot of you guys, okay? Do not overanalyze. M is my slope, L. Yeah, it's my slope, my rise over run. Okay? Now, when we're taking a look, we want to find our slope. We could find the slope of the graph by doing exactly what I just said. You have your rise over your run. So when you rise, you do one of 2 things. You're either going up or down. If it's positive, you're going up. If it's a negative number, you're going down. For your run, you're either going left or right. If this is negative, you're going to the left. If this is positive, you're going to the right. So it's like a direction. Okay? So it's like a direction. So if I'm starting here at 3 and I want to find another point that's on my line, I can look at this point right here. I could look at this point right here. Okay? So I'm going to shoot for this point all the way over here. The reason why, I see how it's intersecting my grid lines. That means it's a nice clear point. So here, not so clear. That means I'm in between 4 and 5 and somewhat in between 0.5 and 1. I wonder if some of you guys noticed that we weren't counting by ones down here. Always take a look at the axes. See what they're counting by. That's one of the things that throws us, and we're like, oh, I could have sawn that, right? So some didn't notice, but you noticed? Yes. All right. So here we go. Okay. I love when people say this. This isn't used in the real world. So you don't give directions to people? Okay. So if I lived here and the party that I want to go to is right here, you can't, and these blocks are representing city blocks. So you mean to tell me that you walk through people's homes to get to that block? Okay, don't do that in Baltimore. Don't come and visit, because you'll never make it to your destination. Just want to let you know. All right, so, but if you start here and you want to get to here, we're going to have to give some direction. So I can go up 1, 2, okay? So I'm going up 2 blocks. Then I have to go over. I know a lot of people say, oh, go over 2. 1, 2. Oh, not really. I'm going over half, and I'm going over 1. Why? Because look what my x-axis is counting by. All right? So we have a half and we have a 1. So you're actually going over 1 to the right. Okay? So your slope is not going to be x, or 1 over 1. It's actually going to be 2 over 1. All right? See? I know. A lot of people are like, oh, this is not a good question, and this is not. You can sit and analyze the question all you want. This is how they separate the haves and the have-nots. This is how they see, are you paying attention? Don't be mad because you didn't catch it. I know. All steaming at the collar. Okay? So, we know that my rise was 2. And my run is actually going to be 1. So that means my slope, which is naturally a fraction, is going to replace my m. So the equation of this line, we already know where we're starting at. That's where we got the plus 3. So now we're going to plug in our slope, which is 2 over 1. Now 2 over 1 can be reduced to just 2. Okay, so now we got our 2x plus 3. That's what our y equals. This is the equation of our line. It does look like 2 over 2 to you, Larry, because take a look what they're counting by here on the x-axis. That's not a 1. That's a 0.5. That's a 1/2. So it's actually a half a step. Yeah, I know, Larry. They get you like that. They get you. So this is why I come on here. Okay? This is why I come on here. Okay? Questions. Questions. See a lot of statements. See a lot of follows. Thank you so much for the follows. I appreciate it. But these are the little things when they give you graphs, or they may give you an equation and they'll say, which graph represents this equation? First place that you should see, always look for the y-intercept. Look for the graphs that has that same y-intercept. If we're supposed to be a positive 3, that means above 0 on the y-axis, and you notice one point's down here, another point's over here, one point's over here, and it's not crossing at the 3, they're not your graphs. Okay? You want to go for the graph that has that y-intercept. Then you look at your slope. If you see 2 answers, one of them is positive, one of them is negative, that means you're going to go for the one that has the positive slope. Alright? So going through it step by step. Sometimes you don't have to do a lot of technical math. Okay? Alright, if you find 2 coordinates on the line and do the change of y divided by the change of x is easier. Some people find that easier. Some people are very visual. Okay? We all learn differently, guys. And if that works for you, that's awesome. But what happens if they don't give you 2 exact points? What happens if they're all wonky and you only got 1 and that 1 point is your y-intercept? So they like to throw that in there as well, okay? But thank you. Oh, hello, Will. How are you? It's been a minute. All right. So if you want more practice problems working on the graphs, trying to pull the slope-intercept form out of it, or maybe even the standard form, okay, that's a possibility. Those were the days. That's the possibilities. All right. So I have a couple more. Just a couple more. I want to see if you can work yourselves through. Okay, so since we're talking about slope, good morning, Miss Lewis. How are you? How's the book holding up for you? Okay. So taking a look, what do you have? Okay, taking a look, what do you think? Oh, good. There is, Cam. There is. Okay, that guy, I see you. That guy, heck. I see you. Thank you so much. Okay, bundles of blessings. Thank you so much. I see you. Okay, can I get one more? And if you're not sure what it is, go ahead and put a comma in. Okay, this is a safe space of learning. I'm not dealing. A lot of people, the ones that were bored, they already left. But this is a safe space of learning. So if you're not sure where to start, you can also put a question mark in the comments. All right, Cam, I see you. My frowny face? I don't know what that is. The saying, okay, Sweet Kelly, I see you as well. Welcome back, Sweet Kelly. Okay, so that's part of it. Alright, that's part of it. Alright, let's take a gander. Yes, rate of change, yes. Okay, alright, Sharon, I see you. Thank you, thanks for sharing the lives. Alright, so when it comes to slope, okay, when they say the slope of the line, they are talking about, and I'm going to put it right here, they're talking about our change of y's over the change of x. Okay? So when you see this triangle is a Greek symbol meaning delta. Okay? Meaning the change, meaning the difference. Alright, all my sororities out there. So the way that you calculate this, Cam even asked, alright, so you're looking at your steepness, okay? Slope is basically how steep a line's going to be. Have you ever walked up a hill and you're like, oh dear God, why? But you have to go home and you have to take this route and you're like, I'm basically going to die. So when you have like a little hill about this high, or you can have something like this. Think of your treadmills. You're like, okay, I'm going to put it to a 1. And then you got someone that's taking it to a 15, like they're trying to climb to Jesus. Like, seriously, you don't need to be that much in fashion. You know, you don't have to be that fit. Okay? So when we're looking at the steepness, we're looking at these 2 points. They gave us a starting point, and they give us an end point. So if I look at a coordinate of this is going to be my x, and this is going to be my y. And since this is the first point that I see, I give it the subscripts of 1. Okay? So this is the x, and this is the y of my second point, so I give it the subscripts of 2. Reason why we're doing that is to help us label, because we're saying we want the difference of our y's over the difference of our x's. This is the formula for slope, or rate of change. Okay? So what we're doing is, a lot of people love it this way, but there's multiple ways of doing it. So now we have our y2, which is 4, minus our y sub 1, which is 6. Then we have our x sub 2, which is 1. minus our x sub 1, which is a negative 2. Anytime I plug in a negative number, I always put parentheses around it. Because this is the part that screws a lot of people up. They always just do 1 minus 2. So now you're thinking it's a positive slope. But let's take a look. 4 minus 6, that gives me a negative 2. If I have $4 and I want to spend 6, I'm short $2. So here, when you're minusing a negative, think of it as a negative times a negative. So a negative times a negative will give me a positive number. So that means we have our negative 2 over positive 3. Okay? So we are going to have a negative slope. Let me talk about the negative. The negative slope, you can have the numerator or the denominator to be negative. You can't have negatives in both. If you do, a negative divided by a negative gives us a positive. So when you're dealing with negative slopes, you get to really pick. That's why it's kind of off to the side here. That's why we have our answer of D. But it's a negative slope because we get to choose if the 2 is going to carry the negative or the 3 is going to carry the negative. That's why most times you'll see the negative off to the side. Alright? Okay, how are we feeling? So like I mentioned, there's another way of looking at it. Instead of y2 minus y1, you can say the same thing for y1 minus y sub 2. Ooh, that's ugly too, so sorry. Then you have your x sub 1 minus x sub 2. So if I wanted to do this a little different, so I have my 6 minus 4 over negative 2 minus 1. So here, 6 minus 4, that gives me 2. And negative 2 minus 1. Listen to how I'm going to say it. Negative 2 plus negative 1. Okay? When you have a minus sign, it can be a plus a negative, which gives me a negative 3. These two, exact same answer. This is negative, and they put the negative with the 2. This is negative, they decide to put the negative with the 3. It's the same negative slope. Are we clear with that part? Okay. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell me how you're feeling. Because I really want you to know and I want you to understand. A lot of people generally get this wrong. Okay, Miss Lewis, I see you. Good. Alright. This is a 4-point question on the GED. Okay, good. Good, Bundles. That guy had good. Okay. This is a 4-point question. A lot of you guys are missing out on questions like these because you skip it. You're like, I don't know what slope is. Well, now you do. Okay? And I know for a fact a lot of you guys will say, Audrey, when I'm with your lives, I get it. But then when I try to do it myself, I can't. Because as soon as you learn something, you need to practice and apply. If you skip that step, it's not going to stay in your brain. Your brain is going to just dump it and say, oh, this is something I can worry about later. And then when the situation arises, you're freaking out, time is going, then you're like, screw it, I'm just dumb at math. No, you're not. Okay? No, you're not. So we have to not just watch videos or watch lives just for the entertainment's sake. You have to watch it almost like a coach, not a player. So in order for you to really solidify, you might have to actually take down all these notes and take a separate sheet of paper. Okay? You can do a separate sheet of paper, write out the problem, do it. When you're done, then you bring the notes back and you use the notes and your answers as an answer key. That's how you study math. You can't just flip through a book like you would do, say, with English or with history and trying to memorize dates and names. That's not how you study math. Math is its own entity, it's its own language. I know when you say it's like a foreign language, because it is. Everyone's trying to mix it in together. Like, no. Okay? So that's why when you study math, you are basically have to take your notes. You can't just rely on teacher given notes. You have to take your own. So that's why sometimes I like to say to my students, rewrite the notes the way that you will understand it. But it has to be in the same exact detail. And then explain it to me so I can tweak your thinking. That's how you learn math. And it's not your fault, guys. No one's ever taught you how to study math. They just tell you to study. Okay, how? Crickets, right? You never had an explanation. So this is probably the thing that you need. Okay, that little tweak that you need so you can not only get past that 31 cut if you're trying to do the ASVAB, not only just pass it, you're really going to pass it, not just that cutoff for the GED. Okay? This is the reason why I do this. So if you need extra practice problems like this, okay, you need more breakdown, there is a link in my bio. Okay, it's my Stan store. If you go there, you're going to see a freebie. I did a new freebie. So even if you've done the freebie before, you can do it again. It's free, right? And you can get a better math readiness score to see where you're at. What are some of the things that you remember? What are some of the things that you're like, oh God, I don't remember this at all? And then how can I assist you? Look at some of the resources that are there. Look at, and this is the main reason why I did this book called Algebra at Your Pace. A lot of you guys are like, yeah, I want to go back to school, which is great. Some of you guys are going back to school in the fall. But I'm going to tell you, the pace of that class, because you're trying to learn algebra, geometry, a little bit of statistics, okay, all mixed together in 12 weeks. That's a lot, and it's a fast pace, and you're going to feel overwhelmed, and then you're going to want to quit. And now I'm going to tell you, no, don't quit. We just have to find a way that best suits you. So this will actually prime the pump a little bit. Okay? Nice. Oh, I'm so glad. Chubbs. Why do you call yourself Chubbs? Alright, so say for example, we have properties of exponents. You scan the QR code, you'll have me explain to you step by step. You got a section where you can write your notes. So this is not just a workbook. It gives you guided notes, step by step. Things that you can pause, you can rewind, you can fast forward, you could just go to where you need. But then immediately you get an exit ticket on the video. That's like the last thing that you get. And then you have extra practice problems. Don't just do the extra practice problems without watching the videos. You're doing your same rotation. You're trying to practice on old memories. Get the knowledge first, then you can do the practice. Okay? Then I did a little bit of challenge problems, very similar to the ones that you see on the GED, the ASVAB, the Accuplacer, the TEAS test, the HESI test, and the general GRE. So after you do all those things, there is a major quiz at the end, but then I also give you some resources. Okay? So with you getting all these resources, these are things that you probably remembered, or maybe not quite understood. Maybe you didn't really understand your multiplication facts. That's why I give you a factor chart, not only up to 100, but to 200. Okay? A lot of numbers that you're going to be dealing with this later on. And then the translating of word problems, what are those consistent words and phrases, that gives you things. And then, hey, let's practice some more with exponents. So you can take these flashcards out of the book, or you can make a copy of it, fold right here, okay? This is the question side, this is the answer side. And then you can make yourself a nice little stack Look at what the thickness. All right. So again, I have my question side and then my answer side. Okay. You're going to practice. All right. You're going to practice. And that's what you have to do. So take a look. Take a look at the stand store. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but I don't want you to just watch videos. Let me talk to you. Okay? You've already have gotten a lot of videos, you got a lot of freebies, you got a lot of PDFs, and guess what? You still didn't pass the test. You feel discouraged. Some of you guys are just dreadfully fearful to even take it. But guess what? You still need to take it. We got to finish it. You started, you passed the other exams, you passed everything else. This is the only thing that's stopping you, so don't let it stop you. Let me break those concepts down. Now, if you want to keep watching some more videos, you can do this too. How many people do you know is going to be doing this? You can go to my YT channel. Okay, Math by Audrey. Starting to change names. Okay, so I just put in the link. If you go to YT, you can see all the replays, not just on my lives, but of previous lives, of breaking stuff down. If you want to do that, that's fine. But here's the thing. It's all over the place. There is no consistency. There is no easy sequence. That's why I created this. This starts from the very beginning, the different types of numbers, and it progresses. It's a slow progression, and you're going at what? Your pace. You go at your pace. So if you feel gung-ho to do like 2 lessons in one day, go ahead, girl. Go ahead, boy. I appreciate you. All right. But if you just like, you know what, I can finish this one book in like 2 days. Okay, do you. Okay. Don't let me hold you back. But maybe it's like, you know what, Audrey, I have until the fall. I want to do like 3 sessions a week. Go ahead. Instead of waiting for me as a tutor and waiting for me to give you instructions, you keep going. You got the answer keys. You have the step-by-step instruction. Go with that. Okay? But if you do have any questions before you're thinking about, like, I think I want to buy this, ask me first. Okay? Everything that's on the stand store, except for the section where it says physical books and resources on the A. Other than that, everything else is downloadable. It is an e-book. You download, you get the files, you get the same material, but because it's electronic, that's why it's cheaper. All right? I need to make that clear because there's too many people saying, all right, I downloaded the books, but when am I going to get the physical book? Never. That's why you can't. We're not on Star Trek. We're not transporting. Like, that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it has. I probably missed the boat. I'm usually slow with some of that stuff. But if you do need it as a physical book, there is, all the way at the bottom, you'll actually see physical books and resources. Click on that to take a look at which book, and then you proceed. Okay? All right. All right, everyone. So I'm hoping you guys have a good 4th, which I'll be here tomorrow morning, probably around the same time. But try to stay cool as much as I can. That's why I brought out the old shirt. What? It somewhat fits, but we're working on that. All right. Yeah, it's not a problem, Happy. Not a problem. So you guys have an amazing day. Continue to work for yourself. If you feel that this is going to be helpful, go for it. Trust me, go for it. If you want to talk about it beforehand, just click on my profile pic, click on it a couple of times, and then just send me a request message. I'm always looking up my messages, but if you want to do like a sampler of the math readiness quiz, you can just go ahead and hit the link in my profile, and it'll be like the first thing that'll pop up. All right? Okay. All right, so I will see you guys probably tomorrow morning. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here tomorrow, later on today, because they said the goal is supposed to be 103 degrees today, but it's supposed to feel like 110. Just say it's going to be 110. Just say we're going to burn up like we're on the source of the sun. All right, everyone. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye now.